The hospital stopped using the fourth floor 3 years ago. That's what they told me on my first night shift. Electrical problems, mold, flood damage. Different nurses gave different reasons, but every single one of them said the same thing after. Don't go near room 214. At first, I thought it was just another hospital joke. Every night job has them. Security guards talk about basement ghosts. Nurses talk about dead patients pressing call buttons. Normal stuff. But around 2:13 a.m., I realized nobody was joking. My shift started at 11 p.m. The building already felt wrong before I even clocked in. The day staff rushed out too fast. Nobody stayed to talk. Nobody smiled. They just grabbed their bags and disappeared into the parking lot like they were escaping something. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Cold, white light. The kind that makes everyone look sick. I worked the reception desk overnight.
Mostly paperwork, deliveries, occasionally helping security if a patient wandered somewhere they shouldn't. Easy money. At least that's what I thought. Around midnight, the hospital became completely silent. Not peaceful silent. Heavy silent. Like the building was listening. You start noticing weird things during night shifts. Machines beeping in empty rooms. Elevators opening on floors nobody pressed. Distant coughing when there are no patients nearby. The security guard, Marcus, sat beside me drinking burnt coffee from a paper cup. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept in weeks. Then he asked me something strange. You ever hear somebody call your name in an empty hallway? I laughed a little. No. He didn't laugh back. Don't answer if you do. That was it. No explanation. Just silence after that. At 1:47 a.m., the first weird thing happened.
A call light activated on the monitor.
Room 214, 4th floor, inactive wing.
I stared at the screen for a second. Is the system broken? Marcus looked up instantly. The color drained from his face. Then the light turned off. Neither of us spoke. 10 seconds later, it turned back on. Room 214. Marcus stood up so fast his chair rolled backward. Stay here. He grabbed a flashlight and headed toward the elevator. I watched the floor numbers above the elevator climb. 1, 2, 3. Then stop. The lobby became completely silent again. No radio chatter, no footsteps. Nothing. 3 minutes passed. Then Marcus called over the radio, but it didn't sound right. Static swallowed half his voice. Someone in the room.
Then, screaming metal feedback exploded through the speaker.
The sound made my chest tighten. And then silence. I kept waiting for another message. Nothing came. 5 minutes later, the elevator doors opened. Marcus stepped out slowly. But something felt wrong immediately. His uniform was soaked with sweat. His flashlight was gone, and he wouldn't look directly at me. What happened? He ignored the question, just walked behind the desk and sat down. Then he whispered something so quietly I almost missed it. She was standing in the corner. Every hair on my arms stood up. Who? Marcus kept staring at the security monitors. She asked where her face went. The fluorescent lights flickered once overhead, then again. Marcus suddenly grabbed my wrist hard enough to hurt. If somebody knocks on the front doors tonight, he looked me dead in the eyes. Do not let them in. At 2:13 a.m., somebody knocked. 3 slow taps against the hospital entrance glass.
I froze. Marcus didn't move. Outside, a woman stood under the parking lot light. Hospital gown, bare feet, long black hair covering most of her face. She looked soaked from the rain, even though it wasn't raining outside. One of the automatic doors tried opening slightly, then stopped halfway. The woman tilted her head, slowly, unnaturally slowly. Then she smiled. Not normal. Too wide. Like she'd never smiled before and was trying to copy how humans do it. Marcus whispered beside me, "Don't look at her teeth." I looked anyway. Big mistake. Her mouth was full of tiny teeth. Hundreds of them, packed together like needles.
Then she raised one hand and pointed directly at me. Not the desk, not the lobby. Me. The front door handle started moving, slowly at first, then violently shaking. Bang! 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 The entire glass entrance trembled. The woman's smile never moved. Then every light in the lobby shut off at once. Darkness swallowed everything. The emergency backup lights kicked in red. Suddenly, the hospital looked completely different. Like another place pretending to be a hospital. Somewhere deeper, older, wrong. And then the elevator dinged. 4th floor, descending. Marcus backed away instantly. No, the numbers dropped. 4, 3, 2. Ding! The doors opened. Empty. At least, I thought they were empty.
Then I saw wet footprints slowly stepping out onto the floor, one after another. Invisible footsteps, coming toward us. Marcus grabbed my shoulder. "Run!" We sprinted through the emergency hallway, while alarms suddenly erupted across the building. Patient monitors screamed, phones rang non-stop. Somewhere upstairs, a woman started crying loudly, then laughing, then screaming again. The sound echoed through the ventilation system. We reached the supply corridor near radiology. Marcus slammed the metal door shut behind us. His hands were shaking uncontrollably now. "What is this place?" He finally looked at me, and for the first time all night, he looked terrified. This hospital was built over the old psychiatric ward. My stomach dropped. Marcus continued. There was a fire in 1996.
They said most patients died in their rooms. Another knock echoed somewhere nearby. Slow, heavy. Marcus lowered his voice. But one patient was never identified. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then a woman's voice whispered directly outside the door. Soft, broken. "Can I come inside?" I felt my lungs lock up, because the voice sounded exactly like my mother. Marcus covered my mouth instantly before I could answer. Outside the door, something scratched slowly across the metal. Then came the final sentence. The sentence I still hear sometimes when I work nights. "You took my face." And then, the scratching moved upward, not like a person standing, like something crawling across the ceiling, right above us. The subway station closed at 1 a.m., but the cleaning crew stayed until 5. That's when the strange things started happening. Not during the day, not while trains were running. Only after the last passengers disappeared. Only after the tunnels became quiet. That's when you could hear the footsteps. The ones that didn't belong to anyone.
I got the job because nobody else wanted it. Night cleaning, platform maintenance, trash collection. Easy work, good pay. The supervisor barely looked at me during orientation. He just handed me a flashlight, radio, and keycard. Then he said something weird before leaving. "If you hear a train after 2:30, he paused. "Don't look into the windows." At first, I thought he meant homeless people or gangs, maybe addicts hiding underground. But around 2:41 a.m., I realized he meant something much worse. The station felt enormous at night. During the day, it was loud, alive, but after closing, it became hollow. Every sound stretched forever through the tunnels. Dripping water, buzzing lights, distant metal groaning deep underground. Like the station itself was breathing. I worked alone on Platform 4, the oldest platform. Half the lights didn't work. Old posters peeled off the walls in long strips like dead skin. At exactly 2:13 a.m., my radio crackled. Static. Then a voice. "Train incoming." I frowned. No trains were scheduled until morning. Then I heard it. Far away. Metal wheels screeching against tracks. Growing louder. Fast. Too fast. The tunnel ahead stayed completely dark. No headlights, no warning lights, just noise. The train exploded out of the darkness seconds later, and immediately something felt wrong. It was old. Way too old. The subway cars looked decades out of date, covered in dirt and rust, every window black. The train slowed, but never fully stopped. It crawled past the platform slowly enough for me to see inside. That was my mistake. People sat inside, completely motionless. Dozens of them. Their skin looked pale gray under the flickering interior lights. Every single passenger stared straight ahead, not blinking, not moving. Like mannequins. Then one of them turned toward me. Slowly. Its mouth opened impossibly wide. And suddenly every passenger turned at the same time, directly toward me. The train immediately accelerated again, vanishing into the tunnel. Silence returned instantly. My radio crackled again. This time the supervisor sounded panicked. "You saw it, didn't you?" I didn't answer, because deep down, I already knew I wasn't supposed to. At 3:02 a.m., I found the first body. Or at least, I thought it was a body. A man stood motionless near the far end of Platform 2, facing the tracks, perfectly still. I called out to him. No response. As I got closer, the smell hit me first. Rot, wet concrete, something sour underneath. The man wore an old subway uniform, like really old. Different logo, different colors. His skin looked waterlogged, almost melted. Then I noticed something horrifying. His shoes weren't touching the ground. He hovered maybe an inch above the platform. My entire body locked up. The man slowly tilted his head backward. Bones cracked loudly in his neck. Too far backward. Far beyond human limits. Then he whispered, "Did the last train arrive?" The station lights flickered. When they stabilized, he was gone. But wet footprints remained, leading toward the tunnel, not away from it, into it. I should have quit right there. Instead, I followed them. That decision still ruins my sleep. The footprints led into a maintenance tunnel beneath Platform 2.
The air became colder immediately. The deeper I walked, the quieter the world became. No city noise, no machinery, nothing. Just my breathing. And distant knocking somewhere underground. The tunnel walls changed after a while. Concrete became old brick, then tile. White hospital-style tiles stained yellow with age. That made no sense. This was supposed to be subway infrastructure. Then I found the door. Heavy metal, half rusted shut,
Stamped with faded letters. Authorized personnel only. Track 61. I pulled it open and nearly threw up. The room beyond was enormous, hidden beneath the station. Rows and rows of old subway seats filled the darkness, like an underground waiting room. And sitting in those seats were people, at least 50 of them, all perfectly still, all facing forward silently. Men, women, children. Their clothes looked from different decades, 1920s, 70s, 90s, like they'd all been taken from different years. None of them moved. None of them blinked. Then one little girl slowly raised her finger and pointed behind me. I turned around. A train had silently arrived behind the platform. No headlights, no sound. Its doors stood open. Inside was complete darkness. Then a voice came from the train's speakers, distorted, broken. Final stop. The seated people all stood up together instantly. Every chair screeched backward at once, hundreds of legs dragging across concrete. Their heads slowly turned toward me. And that's when I realized something even worse. Their eyes were completely black. No whites, no pupils, just endless blackness. Then they started walking toward the train, slowly, in total silence, like sleepwalkers. One woman brushed past me close enough for me to smell dirt and stagnant water in her hair. She whispered something as she passed. "You weren't supposed to stay this late." The train doors began closing. One of the black-eyed passengers suddenly stopped halfway inside, then looked directly at me. Recognition spread across its face, like it finally noticed me. Then more heads started turning, one by one, dozens of faces all staring. The speaker crackled again. "Additional passenger detected." The train doors reopened. Every black-eyed passenger started moving toward me instead. Faster now. Jerking movements. Wrong movements. Like puppets pulled by invisible strings. I ran. Their footsteps exploded behind me instantly. Hundreds of them. The tunnel echoed with screaming metal and distorted voices. I sprinted through the maintenance corridor while lights burst overhead one after another. Pop! 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 Darkness swallowed sections of tunnel behind me. And inside that darkness, I could hear them running. Closer, closer, closer. Then my flashlight illuminated something on the wall. Old missing persons posters. Dozens of them. All subway workers. Night staff, cleaners, security guards. And every single poster had one thing written underneath in red marker. Last seen after final train. I finally reached the station platform and slammed the emergency gate shut behind me. Silence. No footsteps. No screams. Nothing. I thought I escaped. Then my radio crackled one last time. The supervisor's voice whispered, "Look at the tracks." I looked down. Fresh, wet footprints climbed slowly out from the tunnel below.
one after another, coming onto the platform, coming toward me. Then the station speakers turned on by themselves, and a calm, automated voice echoed through the empty station. Service delay. Pause. Something remains on the tracks. The mall closed at 10 p.m. By midnight, the entire building felt dead. Not empty. Dead. Every store gate pulled down, every escalator frozen, music shut off. Only the emergency lights remained, turning the hallways dim blue. That's when security did their patrols. That's when we checked the cameras. And that's when we started seeing the man on floor 3. The floor that didn't exist anymore. I worked overnight security for almost 8 months. Nothing ever happened. Teenagers hiding after clothes, drunk people trying locked entrances. Easy job. Boring job. Until the disappearances started. First it was a cleaner, then a maintenance worker, then one of the guards. All vanished during night shift. No signs of break-in, no bodies, no explanation. Management blamed drugs. Police blamed voluntary disappearance. But the night staff knew something was wrong because every person disappeared after reporting the same thing. A tall man standing inside the abandoned cinema. The cinema that had been sealed off since the fire. Nobody used the 3rd floor anymore. Years ago, a projector exploded during a late screening. The fire spread too fast. Officially, 11 people died. Unofficially, the number changed depending on who you asked. Some said 14, some said 20. One janitor claimed they never recovered every body. After the fire, the entire cinema wing was closed permanently. But every night, around 3 a.m., the motion sensors up there activated. Always at exactly the same time. My shift partner, Luis, refused to talk about it at first. But one night, around 2:40 a.m., he finally told me the truth. "You ever notice the cameras skip on floor 3? I had noticed. Every camera feed up there glitched for exactly 7 seconds each night. Static, then normal again. Always at 3:03 a.m. Luis lit a cigarette with shaking hands. The last guard saw somebody standing outside Theater 8. What happened to him? Luis stared at the security monitors silently, then pointed toward the screen. My stomach dropped. Camera 3A had activated. 3rd floor, 3:03 a.m. Static swallowed the feed for a second, then the image returned. A man stood motionless in the hallway. Tall, too tall. His head nearly touched the ceiling tiles. Dark suit, burned skin, and no face. Not missing features, just smooth skin stretched where the face should have been, like melted wax. The figure stood completely still for several seconds, then suddenly, it tilted its head directly toward the camera. Luis immediately shut the monitor off. Too fast, like he'd done it before. "We're not supposed to watch." That sentence hit me harder than it should have. "What do you mean?" Luis didn't answer, because at that exact moment, something knocked behind us. 3 slow knocks. From inside the security office door. Nobody should have been there. The mall was locked. Luis slowly approached the door. Another knock, this time louder. Then a voice, soft, calm. "Security?" Luis froze instantly. His face went pale. Because the voice outside was my voice. Exact same tone, exact same cadence. I felt my blood turn cold. Luis backed away from the door immediately. "Don't answer it." The thing outside knocked again, then spoke in my voice once more. "You left someone upstairs." The hallway lights outside flickered. Then the security cameras all changed simultaneously.
Every monitor now showed the third-floor hallway. The faceless man was gone. But Theater 8 stood open, its doors slowly swinging. Darkness inside. Then movement. Shapes shifting in the seats, dozens of them watching the camera, watching us. Then every screen suddenly displayed the same message. "Come upstairs." Luis grabbed his flashlight. "We need to leave." But when he tried the security office exit, the hallway outside was gone. Not dark, gone. Beyond the doorway was another corridor entirely. The abandoned cinema hallway. Burned carpet, collapsed ceiling, black soot covering the walls. The smell hit instantly. Smoke, wet ash, rotting fabric. Luis whispered something under his breath. "This isn't possible." Then we heard the movie projector. Click, 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 click. Somewhere upstairs. An old film reel starting. The sound echoed through the building, and suddenly the mall speakers turned on. Soft music began playing. 1940s jazz, distorted, slow, like a dying record player. One by one, the stores around us lit up. Not modern stores anymore, old ones, outdated signs, dead businesses from decades ago. The mall looked wrong, like we stepped backward in time. Then people appeared. Crowds walking slowly through the corridors, but none of them had faces. Men, women, children, all smooth, blank skin where their features should have been. They walked silently past us, carrying shopping bags, ignoring us completely. Until one little boy stopped beside me, then pointed upstairs, toward Theater 8. We ran, straight for the emergency stairwell, but every floor led back to the third floor, no matter how far down we went. Floor 2, open door, third floor again. Floor 1, third floor again. Luis started panicking, sweating, breathing too hard. Then we heard footsteps above us, slow, heavy, descending, one step at a time. The lights overhead flickered violently. Luis shined his flashlight upward, and finally we saw it. The faceless man. Standing at the top of the stairs, too tall to fit normally, its neck bent sideways unnaturally against the ceiling. Then it spoke, not with one voice, with hundreds, all layered together. "You watched the film." The stairwell door behind us slammed shut. The thing started walking down slowly. Each step sounded wet, like burned meat peeling off bone. Luis suddenly screamed and pointed upward. The creature's smooth face was changing, shapes pushing beneath the skin, eyes trying to form, mouth opening, human features struggling to appear. And all of them looked different. Different victims, different faces, like it was wearing pieces of people. Then one face finally stabilized. Mine. The creature smiled with my face. "You stayed after closing." The lights exploded. Darkness swallowed the stairwell. Luis started screaming beside me, not scared screaming, agony. Wet, tearing sounds echoed in the dark. Then silence. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe.
Then something whispered directly beside my ear. "You can leave." Pause. "But your face stays here." The emergency lights finally came back on, red. Luis was gone. The stairwell stood empty, except for one thing. His security badge, still warm on the floor. And beside it, a human face, perfectly peeled, smiling upward at me. I quit the next morning, never went back. But sometimes, late at night, I still get notifications from the old security app on my phone. Camera 3A activated, 3:03 a.m. every single night. And last week, for the first time, the faceless thing wasn't standing alone anymore. Now, there are two of them.
The gas station sat alone on Highway 8. No nearby town, no houses, no streetlights. Just endless forest surrounding a single, flickering building. I took the night shift because the pay was insane. Double rate after midnight. Now I know why. Because nobody lasts longer than a week. The manager explained the rules during my first shift. Not normal work rules, weird ones, specific ones. If Pump 4 activates by itself, he stared at me seriously. Don't look outside. I laughed a little. He didn't. Then he handed me a shotgun from beneath the counter. That should have been enough to make me quit immediately. Instead, I stayed. Big mistake. The station became empty after 1 a.m. The highway died completely. No cars, no headlights, nothing. The silence out there felt unnatural, like the entire world ended beyond the parking lot. Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed constantly. Coffee burned on the hot plate. The old security monitor above the register flickered every few seconds. At exactly 2:17 a.m., Pump 4 activated. Beep, I froze. No cars outside, no customers. But the numbers on the screen started climbing. $3.12, $7.45, $11.09. Like somebody was pumping gas into an invisible vehicle. Then the security cameras cut to static. My stomach tightened. That's when I remembered the manager's warning. Don't look outside. So, naturally, I looked outside. At first, I saw nothing. Then movement near Pump 4. A person standing beside the gas pump. Tall, very thin, wearing a dark raincoat, its face hidden beneath the hood. The figure stood completely motionless. Then, slowly, it raised one arm and pointed toward the store, directly at me. The automatic door chimed. Ding! My blood froze, because the person from Pump 4 was still outside. But somehow, something had just entered the store. I looked toward the aisles. Nobody there. But the cold hit instantly. The entire station temperature dropped. My breath became visible. Then came the sound. Wet footsteps, slowly moving through the snack aisle. Step, step, step. But I still couldn't see anybody. The footsteps stopped near the refrigerators. Then, every cooler door opened at once. Glass slammed against metal. Rows of drinks shook violently. The lights flickered overhead. And from somewhere inside the aisles, a voice whispered, "Do you work alone?"
The voice sounded wrong. Not human wrong.
Like multiple voices speaking slightly out of sync. I grabbed the shotgun beneath the counter. My hands were shaking hard now. Then the security monitor came back online. Every camera showed static except one. Outside camera. Pump 4. The hooded figure still stood there, completely motionless, facing the building. Meaning whatever spoke inside wasn't the thing outside. Then the power went out, instantly. Darkness swallowed the station. Only the red exit sign remained glowing above the door. I heard movement immediately, fast movement, circling the aisles. Not footsteps anymore, crawling. Something crawling across the floor at high speed. The sound stopped directly beside the counter. Silence. Then breathing, deep, wet, right below me. I slowly looked downward and saw fingers curling over the edge of the counter. Too many fingers. Long, pale, bent the wrong direction.
Then a second hand appeared. Then a third. Something slowly pulled itself upward from the darkness. I raised the shotgun. The emergency lights suddenly activated, and I saw it fully for the first time. It looked almost human. Almost. Its arms were too long, its skin stretched tightly over sharp bones, and its face looked unfinished, like somebody tried building a person from memory. Eyes too large, smile too wide, skin twitching constantly. Then it spoke again. You looked outside. The thing lunged across the counter instantly. I fired the shotgun. The blast deafened me. Shelves exploded behind it, but the creature didn't stop. It slammed into me hard enough to throw me against the cigarettes. Its body felt freezing cold, like touching ice water. The smell coming off it was unbearable. Wet dirt, rot, gasoline. I kicked it away and ran toward the back storage room. The thing chased me on all fours, fast, way too fast. Its limbs cracked loudly as it moved. I slammed the storage door shut behind me. Something hit the other side instantly. Boom. Metal bent inward. Again. Boom. Again. Boom. The entire door started warping. Then silence. Complete silence. I backed away slowly, trying not to breathe too loud. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number, one voicemail received. Hands shaking, I played it. Static filled the speaker for several seconds. Then my own voice whispered, "Don't let it copy you." My chest tightened, because I never recorded that. Then came another sound in the voicemail, the storage room door opening, behind me. I turned slowly. The door was still shut, locked, but something stood in the corner now, tall, motionless, wearing my uniform, my name tag, my face, almost perfect, except the smile. Too wide, too stretched, like it learned expressions by watching people. The copy tilted its head, then spoke with my exact voice. "You can go home now." Its mouth opened slightly wider, skin tearing near the cheeks. "We'll finish your shift." Then all the lights in the gas station suddenly turned back on. The creature outside Pump 4 was gone. The store became silent again, normal again, almost. The copy of me slowly stepped backward into the darkness between shelves, still smiling, still watching me, then disappeared.
Police arrived 40 minutes later after somebody reported gunshots. They searched the station, found nothing. No creature, no damage, no shell casings. Nothing except surveillance footage. The officer showed me the recording before I left.
At 2:17 a.m., the camera captured me standing alone behind the register, smiling directly into the lens, while every gas pump outside activated one by one. And behind the glass entrance, dozens of people stood motionless in the darkness of the highway, watching the store, watching me, waiting for the doors to open. I quit that same night, but sometimes when I'm driving late, I see that gas station again. Same flickering lights, same empty highway, same pump 4 activated. And every single time, there's somebody behind the counter who looks exactly like me.